Hi there, it's Miss Morgan making a video about some thinkers from a time period in history called the Enlightenment. The reason why you're learning about this information is because ideas from these people helped influence the US government. So on your note sheet, you should pause the video as needed to fill in information that is missing that you need to fill in. And I'm gonna go fast, or try to at least, so you likely might have to pause the video to fill in what you need. So the Enlightenment happened in 1700s in Europe, and it put forth a lot of new ideas about government and society. One thinker from that was part of the Enlightenment is this man called John Locke. He is from England. So he thought England should have a constitutional monarchy. That is because England has a monarch, and so that's why Locke wanted a constitutional monarchy, not to be confused with our constitutional government. So this slide talks about the purpose of government, and you just need to fill in what is in yellow. And we've talked about purpose of government and natural rights already with the vocab terms, so you hopefully are a little familiar with these topics. And not every government thinks the purpose of government is to protect people's rights, but that idea was used for building the US government. And you're going to fill in number 3 about what should happen if the government doesn't respect people's rights. See, that's because the government could be overthrown if the people didn't think it was working well for them and protecting their rights. Okay, so you have already answered this question. I don't know how long ago, a week and a half. I'm not quite sure. Natural rights. What are rights people should have just because they're humans? I don't know. Think about it. See, can you remember what you said the first time you heard about this question? Okay, the next guy is this guy, Baron de Montesquieu. He's from France. And he's where we got the idea of 3 branches from and separation of powers. So he's pretty important. So pause the video as needed to fill in what you're missing. We are skipping this part because we just are. All right. No, 3 branches should be separate, but not equal. This would help it so that no branch would become too powerful. These ideas were used for the US Constitution. That's why you're learning about them. That's why they're especially important for the US. Flip to the back, assuming you're done with page 1. Okay, this guy Voltaire, he is from France as well, and he valued certain freedoms that are listed right there. They became part of the First Amendment for the US. So we were not the first country to think they were important because the founders stole ideas from Voltaire. Not really like a thief, but I'm just saying they used these ideas. Pause the video as needed to fill in what you're missing. Okay, so you could think about why it could be important for society to have freedom in thought, speech, expression, and religious tolerance. Excuse me, I'm tired. Why might people think this is a good thing to have these freedoms? Think in your head. I may ask you at some point. Okay, Cesare Beccaria is from Italy, and his ideas connect to prisoners and people accused and convicted of crimes. So this slide talks about what his belief about laws were. No, what his belief about laws was. And number 2 is basically like, we need to have punishments for crimes that aren't too harsh, but they should be severe enough that the person's not going to want to commit the crime again. Okay, next up, it talks about fair and speedy trial. which is in the Sixth Amendment in our Constitution. And Beccaria did not support the death penalty. A fair and speedy trial, for fact number 3 right there, that doesn't mean the trial happens like quickly or right after the crime is committed or even a couple days after. Speedy trial means they're going to try to have the trial as close to the date of the offense as you can get. Okay, we're going to wrap up with info on how the Enlightenment influenced the U.S. So there's a couple examples of how John Locke influenced the U.S. And the first one is that the colonists justified rebelling against the British king for the Revolutionary War because they did not feel the king, King George III, was respecting their rights. Okay, next up we have the Declaration included Locke's ideas about the purpose of government, which is to protect people's natural rights. And then the Declaration tweaks John Locke's phrase about natural rights. John Locke said life, liberty, and property are natural rights, and Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration that natural rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, last little bit, Constitution and how different thinkers influence different parts of it. So our Constitution includes separation of powers with 3 branches that came from Montesquieu. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution are called the Bill of Rights, and there's freedoms in the Bill of Rights that come from Voltaire's ideas. And lastly, Beccaria, his ideas about right to a speedy trial are also in the Bill of Rights, and we'll study the Bill of Rights and Constitution in more detail later in the year. So I hope you got all the notes. If not, go back to the spots where you need to write down the notes and just do your work. All right? Sounds good. See you later. Bye.